A small piece inside a chain might be all it takes to either destroy the whole construct or make it a magical success. What might change your life might not be a 10-hour, $10,000 seminar or a complex tool you need to read the full book on. What might change your life might be a rethinking of a small part. Look at personal development and the coaching industry. Personal development is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Built up over decades, it grew rapidly. Then there are coaches for all kinds of areas of life. From coaches that directly help you with improvement in skills or personality to coaches that look over you when you go to the gym. Zooming back, foundationally, every person has two areas that need to be tackled. This includes how personal development, with reading books, watching videos, interviews, going to seminars, but also coaches approach any person. The first area is information. There's plenty we don't know or have not put together or have not been able to see from a certain angle. This is a part of the work that personal development does with interested people. Through all kinds of different ways, we get new information. This is very valuable. Sure, sometimes you might reach a point of information overload, but that doesn't change the fact that this is something needed. The second area is the actual operation of life. It is the attempt to execute the information we receive with all of its struggles. It is the area of human nature with its resistance. It is understanding what drives people in general, their psychology, and what drives the specific person inside their unique situation. Together, the two areas attempt to find the holes of knowledge of a person, attempt to fill it in the best way, then understand the person and its struggles on moving from not knowing and not doing to knowing and doing. What I want to look into is the second area, the execution area, and make you reconsider a particular element that might help you execute more in your life. By the end of this video, I want you to have slightly changed your perception of a particular aspect on what matters when it comes to taking action. For that, we first need to understand why we struggle so much with executing. In theory, it should be quite easy. The issue of lacking information at least makes some sense. If you don't know better, and even worse, if you don't know that you don't know, you will move through life based on your flawed assumptions. If you don't know how to tackle an issue, you will try to dodge it. This makes sense. If your flawed assumption is that you can't do something, then you won't do it. This makes sense. What makes less sense is if you have the right knowledge, if you have the right information, yet most people still seem to struggle. Why is that? There are plenty of reasons for it. You struggle because you're afraid of doing it. You're afraid of even trying because you believe you will fail completely or partially, where what you attempt will not turn out well. You're afraid whether you will be able to finish it. You might start, but will you be able to be consistent or will you stop eventually? Then you might simply be unsure of whether this is even what you want to do. Oftentimes, we struggle making decisions, and once we finally do so, we start questioning these decisions. Was it the right one? We questioned what we were thinking or simply forgot it in a few days. Which makes sense because we are passionate in that moment while planning and deciding. Few days in and the passion cools off, the fire is gone, and suddenly the doubts come in. This is what I want to explore and find some helpful ideas. Because not only I have struggled with it, but many people struggle with the simple concept of thinking about your situation, making decisions you believe are right, and then taking action towards those decisions, towards those goals, and then evaluating what's happening. Human nature is a powerful force. It can be used to our advantage, but many times it is a powerful force standing against some of what we desire to do. We have all these thoughts about the fear of doing, the failure that might come with it, and the resistance inside of us tries to stop us from even attempting to go for it. What we want to figure out are ways to remove the obstacles from our path. Our brain is a major one, especially if it is so attuned to stopping us because it has done so many times and it worked. How many times have you allowed your brain to stop you from doing something? Allowed the fear it conjured to make you stop. Allowed the idea of doing it another day to make you push it off. What can we do? Personal development is incredible. It is amazing and helps a lot of people. At the same time, when you look at how many different ideas, how many different teachings there are, and yet people still struggle, it might be worthwhile to take a step back and instead of thinking of solutions, some trick on getting things done, we should try to change our perception of what matters. What I want to talk about is one particular piece inside this concept. A piece that you might want to change in the way you look at it. That might be the first step towards creating momentum and then start becoming quite good in attacking these issues, which I'm pretty sure we all can see would be incredibly helpful if it works. If you can make decisions on goals, on problems you want to solve, and then tackle these issues, this would be great. This is one of the key elements here because while plenty of people might not plan out the situation, plenty do. Plenty of people do think about their goals. Sure, neither the analysis of the current situation nor the goal settings and strategizing might be very sophisticated, but the main problems come oftentimes in the execution part. This can become ugly even if we eventually do tackle the issue. We want to immediately, but we don't, and then it takes a day, a few days, a week, while we are constantly thinking about the issue, but we still have not tackled it. And yes, eventually you're going to, but this might take weeks, sometimes months. What is this interesting piece that might be of great service to people that struggle with it? The answer is showing up. Showing up is the first step, the first courageous step that you're going to need to take while also understanding the importance of it. I know when you listen to it in the beginning, it might sound rather disappointing because you have thought about something bigger, more interesting, more extreme, something more nuanced, or something you haven't heard before. Showing up sounds kind of boring and weak. It sounds like typical generalist to broad personal development mumbo jumbo. But once we have explored this part a little bit, I think you will see the potential here, what it can do for you. When you take a step back and look at most of the issues where you have trouble taking the steps, they have a few things in common, but the two elements are always there, a form of fear and overthinking. This becomes then a cycle. It might be fear of failing, fear of having chosen the wrong path, fear that you might not have the time to do it right, and all kinds of other potential fears. And then overthinking is added to the mix. You start thinking and pondering and running it over and over and over again in your mind. When one such crossroad comes, our brain starts running scripts to make us not do anything. So there are different types of scripts for different people, but generally speaking, you have a situation and you might even think about the solution. Sometimes you don't, which is also the brain trying to distract you from what matters. You think about the solution, think about the goal that you want to go for, and then you don't go for it. What can it be? Of course, it's your brain. At this level, it is always the brain, whether it is the thinking part or the doing part. To sum it up, on any one of the parts, analyzing, goal setting, planning, or execution, your brain will run scripts depending on what part is bothering the brain most. These scripts will create visions and thoughts that might pump up your fear of failure or bad beliefs you hold. It will make you think about delaying. Maybe it is the wrong decision, maybe you can do something else, maybe you should wait. It might create distractions where it will make you put it off just for a while. It might run scripts where you desire to eat something sweet, watch videos, maybe you suddenly have this craving for video games. One of the most powerful tricks is to make you do it later. It's not about not doing it at all. Maybe you can fight against not doing it at all, but if you convince yourself that you can do it later, you can. Great, so now you easily put it off without even feeling that bad. This is also the brain trying to stop you. We can't allow this to continue to derail our lives. We need to think about solutions. One solution people found is, for example, there's some success in people battling this resistance by preparing running clothes and shoes and have it all ready to go. When you wake up, you have it all done. You can put your clothes on and then go. Or the same with the gym. You just have your gym clothes, your gym bag, all of it prepared. You wake up, go for it, and that's it. This is something I have done and notice what works really well is where I just go without even thinking. Or before I can even ponder whether I feel like going or not. Before the scripts start running, I just go quickly, take the ready bag, put shoes on, go outside, and then suddenly there's nothing there that can stop you. This is the idea of showing up, of going to where you need to go and then let the rest play out. What is so powerful about this is that when we take a small step back to the example of going to the gym, what I can say is that I've never gone back and I've never not gone to the gym when I had my gym bag and I was already outside. Once I stepped outside, I never went back. Of course, maybe you are a runner and once you step outside, there are situations like rain or some other issue where you're forced to go back, but generally speaking, you don't go back if you're already outside. If you reach a certain threshold, which people probably overestimate in where it is, because oftentimes it is simply showing up, then you will often go either the full way or a big chunk of the distance. Once you do take the first step over the threshold, momentum comes. If you need to record something, bringing the mic to your face, push record, and then start, you will often go to the finish line. It might not be the quality you desire, so you have to go again, but you will often do more than you hoped. Whereas if you didn't, you might think about it, go back and forth, and either do it much later or not at all. This is the power of showing up to the threshold. You will often get carried by human nature. Oftentimes human nature plays against us, but in this case it is something that we're using to our advantage, bypassing the scripts of your brain that only have power if you allow it to have. The same is true for many other practices and skills. How often have you struggled with going to study? Probably many times. But how often have you started studying and then quickly stopped? Probably rarely, if ever. People don't struggle with this part at all. Most people struggle starting the study session. The beauty of this idea is that it doesn't require a lot of new thoughts or fancy thinking. It doesn't require big tools. It requires only for you to think through the threshold, which might worry you because you're not sure what it is, but it is fairly obvious where it is and you can go across it. Most of the time it is already in the name, show up. The threshold in most cases is for you to simply show up.